Welcome, everybody, family and friends. We're here with the Ed Block podcast. I'm going solo today, but it's always good. It's always good because we always have quality guests on it. Of course, we have a guy who is an Upper Marlboro, Maryland guy. All right. One of my buddies is out that way, man. That's good. So we're going to go, my man, Shawne, Lights Out Merman, my man. How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well, man. Doing all right. Just coming off of that big Super Bowl week. I'm a Las Vegas resident now, even though all my family is still back in the PG County, Washington D.C. area. But this week was crazy with Super Bowl events, and obviously the game was just insane.
Yeah, man. Hey, I was out there too. I just got back last night, actually this morning, about 4 o'clock this morning. So talk about how hectic it really is, okay, during Super Bowl time. People may not know that it's strenuous, man. We don't live like this every day.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that just the week of like media, Radio Row and the event, and it's one of the only times I think that you get everybody in the sports world like in one place, right? I mean,
Right.
nothing against like NBA finals and other big sport events, but when you're talking about US based sports, you see everybody from every single industry, baseball players, WWE guys, I mean, everybody's here for the Super Bowl. So for me, obviously, you got Radio Row. Did I get a chance to promote some of the stuff I got going on? Talk about that a little bit. Talk about the game. Talk about upcoming and daily events and what's happening in the world, NFL and sports, man. So and then events, right? Then you got all the work stuff during the day. You got the events tonight. You do 4 or 5 straight days of that, man. It'll beat you up. But overall, I think the experience was just bar none.
Talk about that experience briefly. We come out of our areas. I'm from Florida, Tallahassee, Florida. You from up there in the Upper Marlboro, DC area. Talk about that experience and kind of, fundamentally growing up, and then all of a sudden now we're in this retirement mode and getting a chance to kind of rub shoulders with guys and people that you've seen and you kind of emulate, throughout your years of becoming a professional athlete.
I think right. I got a pretty good network of people, and I know a lot of people, but sometimes you'll come across 1 or 2 guys you haven't met before that you just kind of in a sense, you just got so much appreciation for. I remember last year, I ended up running into Joe Montana, right? Like
Right.
a lot of old school guys. I used to love Joe Montana, and I ran into him, and I'm like, oh damn, that's Joe Montana, right?
Right.
And so it's that part of it is great, man, because it's not too many times you can get everybody in one place to interact like that. It's a very, very, very special week.
And hey, of course, we have to mention your, stellar career, okay, lights out career, as we all know and say. But like everybody on this podcast that we try to get on and talk to, we all deal with adverse situations and bring a human quality into what we do. Take the helmet off, per se, and talk about your moment. Talk about that time, because it was a tough time. It's a tough time for every player. 2009, you won the Ed Block Courage Award. Talk about that moment and what that meant, and your injury that you had to persevere through to make it back on the field.
Yeah, man, it was sometimes you can get awarded these accolades, right? The defensive rookie of the year, which I got in all pros and Pro Bowls, and then you hit this stump where I had back-to-back injuries. I couldn't stay on the field. And I just, I went from a knee injury to Achilles injury. And for me, it almost in a sense turned into an award that was just as big as all the other accolades I've ever received, because it was like, okay, well, I hit a point where it was a rough patch. And we all do it, right? I don't care who you are. Everybody's rough patches are just different, but we all hit it. And so for me to get an award for fighting back through, to finding a way back on the field, like that was just as important to me as the All Pros and Pro Bowls and Defensive Rookie of the Year and NFL sack leader. Like that to me, like to make it back there meant a lot. And then too, it happened, I was in Baltimore. I was back in my hometown, and just see a lot of people there that went to University of Maryland that I grew up when I was in high school, and just running into everybody that watched me as a kid practically coming up through, junior high and high school and winning an award like that in front of them to kind of put up there on a pedestal with the rest of the awards, man. It was an awesome, awesome feeling.
Did it ever cross your mind during that period that this could be it? Like, may have suited up and played my last game and this could be it. And I don't know what I'm going to do if this is over at this particular time.
I didn't have that. I had the feeling of will I ever get back to what I was? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think it would be it. I knew I was always good enough to play in the NFL no matter what, even with some of the injuries piling up. I knew if I could find a way to get back healthy enough to get on the field, that my mindset, determination of being relentless is going to keep me playing in the NFL. I was definitely questioning whether I was ever going to get back to where I was, explosive again, to be able to be a game changer, be looked at as that guy I once was. So that part of it constantly went through my head a lot. But then I started to remember too, man, I grew up in PG County. We were homeless a few different times, and you start to look at all the adversity you already been through in order to get there. And it's like, okay, this ain't the end of the world because you've already went through way, way worse. You've already dealt with way, way worse. You just not finishing up like you want, but that's also one part of your life. And that's, when I transition out to doing more TV, having my companies and getting into other sports and building my own organizations, life wasn't over, right? And so I really had to put everything into perspective and say, man, you were homeless. You were on welfare. You were living in shelters. You were living in churches. You were living in the back of the car with your mother and your sister for days at a time. I said, that is the bottom. That is the bottom. So you can find your way through this injury. You can find your way getting back on the field and making yourself meaningful in life and importance to what you're building.
And that's important, man. That's very important. We all go through transitions, whether it be in our family lives, in our athletic lives, and perseverance is always at the foundation of all those things. And going through that transition and making that transition from being you're always going to be a pro athlete. You're always going to be you're always going to be lights out. We can't run from that. Now that's going to be but really making that crossover and getting into the business realm and having the same intensity toward that. What was your approach when you started to move on into television to kind of build the beginning of your media empire?
It's funny you said intensity, and that to me is always resonates. Intensity, passion, discipline, focus, all the things that made me the player I was on the field. Those same things. And a lot of guys struggle to find that next phase in life because they don't have anything that they're passionate about as they did. The stuff that made them run out to 70,000 plus people, right? Big sack, strip force, fumble, interception, catch, that the crowd going crazy, millions of people watching at home. You come after the game, you got 100+ text messages if everybody saw that big crazy play you did. And so you start to take that same passion that, oh man, I had that big turnover on downs type of deal, the big game changer play. Once you find your passion, that thing to make you feel the same way, you're golden. Because at that point, I always say this, the athletes, man, we're the most disciplined people walking on this earth. From the time we are kids, we are told to be somewhere at a certain time, show up at a certain time, go to study hall, go to class, work out, watch film. Like our whole lives are scheduled. And so when you get in the business,
we living like soldiers up in there.
that's what it is, man. It is. It's very militant. We live a very militant lifestyle, and I think that translates into business world, because one thing you have to do is you have to be disciplined, right? And you're going to go through adversity. Every business plan and model that you have is not going to be successful. It's just not. And so it's no different. You've been injured. You got to find a way to overcome it, find yourself back on the field. Business, same thing. You're going to have some failures. You got to get up, scrape yourself off, and find yourself to get back in the game. And it's helped me out a lot, man. And I actually talk about just how important is the air carriage block is important to just how the mindset you have to have into making it back there and what you had to go through. And that award, man, for me, it really was an important piece. And I got it up, I got it over here, sitting right here. Because I do think that there's a lot of things that intertwine when you're talking about getting awarded for something like that, what you had to go through, and now in the business world. I wish it was like a Ed Courage Block Award for business, right? Because we all get beat up out here, and we go through the trials and tribulations of finding our way in growing companies and growing organizations, and you get beat up in the process, but you get awarded by success.
And hey, I tell guys all the time, like, hey, it's a lot of Hall of Famers that I've seen on their backs. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay.
A lot.
That's part of the process. you will get knocked down, and that's the game that you have to get back up and have that same kind of intensity with moving forward. So, definitely talk about lights out, all right, how you have made that into your slogan now and what you are promoting your boxing right now. Please expand on that and let everybody know what's going on with
Yes.
that.
So Lights Out Extreme Fight is my MMA organization, mixed martial arts. And I grew up there in PG County. I had uncles and family who were professional boxers. So I naturally grew up around combat sports anyway, all
Oh,
professional
okay,
boxers.
okay. That
You
was your
know,
training, huh? That was the secret right there. That's the secret.
yeah, yeah, and so we grew up. I grew up not too far from Sugar Ray Leonard's gym that was in Palmer Park.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle boxed at Round One box that was in Capitol Heights, and I grew up in Fordsville. There's a lot of boxers and boxing gyms coming out of Fordsville. And so I grew up around that anyway. And so I got into MMA back in 2005, 2006. I just started training literally to help my hand-eye coordination and being more active with my hands, being a better outside linebacker and pass rusher. That's what I wanted to do it for. And I just turned into love the sport. So I ended up launching my own MMA organization, Lights Out Extreme Fighting, 2019. Obviously, we got shut down with the pandemic for a couple of years, like everybody did, but we restarted in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
We're now on Fubo TV, Fubo Sports. We're top 5 most watched on Fubo. We also show on Bally's and Amazon, Freevee, and some of these other places. And so, yeah, it's just it's been great, man, to be into live sports, right? I played on the biggest platform there is in this country, that's NFL. So I learned a lot being in the live sports business. So I definitely attribute a lot of my success just from being around that platform and know how big that is.
There you go, guys. Hey, don't be one-dimensional with your activities, okay? It's always good to do other things. You never know how one sport is going to cascade to the other. But man is saying he grew up around boxing. I never knew that. Never knew that. And see, he letting secrets out the bag here, man. That's some good stuff, and that's some good lessons that guys who listen to this show, these kids out here, can really gravitate to. And I want to ask you this before I carry on with it. How much did that help you with your development going into MAA and using your hands and really transferring that information to the field?
It was night and day. When I got to the NFL, man, I was really relying on my speed, power, explosion to get past guys or come up under them or run through them on a bull rush. And when I got really good with my hands, man, that was a separator for me. And I really, really attribute that to MMA and being able to use my hands, being violent, being active, getting those big guys up off me, being able to bend the corner, open my hips up around those big offensive tackles, man. It was a game changer for me. And I encourage definitely more up and coming guys to pick up some form of combat sport during the off season. Not saying you got to go fight, but definitely pick it up, man, because we're starting to see more and more how it can benefit you on the field.
There you go, man. You hear from pro bowlers, all pro that come on the show. Hey, that's how we learn, guys. That's how we learn. All right, Shawne. So hey, tell us when we can tune into your next event. All right, we want to know. Let everybody know in the next event when we can tune in and where can we watch it.
Yeah, we got a huge event this Friday coming up, February 16th, Lights Out Extreme Fighting 14. We got the next up and coming superstars, man. That's the fun part for me is I get the younger superstars before they become superstars. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, man, that dude is gonna be big, or that woman, that girl gonna be big one day. And I get a chance to see them come through the pipeline for Lights Out Extreme Fighting. We'll be live on Fubo TV, Fubo Sports at 7 p.m. Pacific. We also got these new tech gloves with chips in the gloves that can measure speed, power, punch, impact that we're going to display this fight. And I think that for us, man, the sky's the limit. So you guys out there, if you don't have Fubo, get it. We'll be live on Fubo 7 p.m. Pacific, Lights Out Extreme Fighting 14, Friday, February 16th.
My man Shawne, Lights Out Merman, DC's finest, baby. PG County representing. I appreciate you coming on the show, my man. We appreciate the information. Tune in and watch Lights Out MAA 14. Watch, it's going to be hot, man. I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thanks, my man. Thanks for having me.
All right.